Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. We're really excited to see everybody here this evening. Tonight, we're actually going to be discussing some of our favorite and most effective learning resources for learning sign language. And so we're going to be going over some like dictionaries, online dictionaries, YouTube channels, Instagram accounts, games, and activities that just kind of makes the learning process a lot more easy and can be a lot more effective in learning the language. So we'll try to cover as many as we can. We're going to try to keep this live stream to an hour tonight. But let's go ahead and say hi to everybody. I see Debbie has joined us. And we are also joined by Monica and Savannah, Afia, Antoinette. Good evening, everybody. And let's see if I can get to as many as we can tonight. Shmiva, Felicia, that was really a great class. You're referring to the group practice session that we just finished over on Zoom. Again, if you would like to join us, we make those Zoom links available through our newsletters, and those are free to sign up for, and there's a link in the description down below if you would like to join those, and we can hold those every Wednesday. Debbie, super sticker, that's really cool. Thank you so much. We got a lot of people joining in. Brittany and Scarlett, hello. And I also want to mention, too, that we're going to be doing a giveaway tonight. So regardless of whether or not we hit the 50 likes, we're going to go ahead and give away a free one-on-one session with either myself or my wife. But if we do hit that 50 likes, we're going to go ahead and give away one copy of our children's book. Hopefully the camera can focus on that. There we go. A Day at the Beach. And so that's what we have planned for tonight. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. We're going to, Scarlett said they noticed me. Yeah, so let's just go right into it. So dictionary. So this is kind of one of the things that we gravitate towards first, and rightly so. So dictionaries are a really great way to build up the vocabulary that you are going to be utilizing. And so there are a lot of dictionaries out there, and if you prefer the paper dictionary route, my two favorite and most effective and most accurate dictionaries that I could recommend are both through Gallaudet. So there's an adult version and there's a children's version. And we're going to leave links to both of those in the description down below. Dictionary, because I know we had one. We loaned it to a friend and then we never got it back. But that's a really great dictionary. Go ahead and let them know what you like.
Spot.
Yeah, for the record, she didn't prepare for.
I didn't. Hey, you're here. Explain. Okay. Okay, man, that was a long time ago. So the Gallaudet dictionary that we had, it actually came with a disc too, but it's a really good dictionary. I don't want to get my two dictionaries confused because there's two that I used in the past and that I use with some students. So, but it's a really good dictionary. It has pictures in it, so you can kind of see what they're doing, with the sign. But it's got so many different categories. It's got, it's thick. It's not like some. Like ASL dictionaries, they're like this big or whatever. The sucker's like this big. I mean, it's thick. But it's a really wonderful dictionary. I liked it. I liked using it to help teach some. This was a few years back. I don't have it. I thought I had it.
We did have it. We loaned it to a friend, and
because I bought one.
Then, like all good books that you lend to a friend, they never come back.
They don't come back. They keep it because it was good. But yeah, but it is a really good dictionary out there. If you're that kind of person, if you like learning that way, a lot of people, they prefer like, I got to see it. I got to have it. It's got to be mine in my hand to be able to understand what's going on. And that's okay. Other people are like, nope, no way. I want to see it. I have to see it in person, or I have to see it like on a video to fully understand. And that's true too. Sometimes it's hard from a picture to depict what they're doing. So a lot of people don't prefer that method of learning. They prefer like YouTube channels like ASL That, ASL Meredith, Sign Duo. The Daily Moth, Bill Vickers. I usually have like.
We're jumping a little bit ahead. I have an entire list.
For asking me to talk. I'll just start like that. But anyways, yes, that dictionary. Oh, my bad. Keep talking. Somebody can't log in.
Oh, okay. So yeah, dictionaries. There's one other book that I wanted to like briefly discuss, and it's not from Gallaudet. Oh, but the children's one. That's also a really good dictionary because it has more pictures, and that can really help you kind of have that mental image, and it will help you kind of have something to remember to and to be able to attach to the sign itself. So that can, don't dismiss it just because it's for kids. The pictures and like the simple explanations, and also has like some memory aids that can just kind of help you remember the signs. So that's a really good way to learn more words and kind of learn the words that you want to know.
They figure themselves out.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so that's really good for just like vocabulary, just for words. And also in those Gallaudet dictionaries, they have explanations as far as like grammar and also deaf culture and a lot of just different ASL and sign language aspects. Oh, sorry, I'm still coming.
It's okay. It's happening.
So anyways, yeah, so yeah, that's a great, both of those dictionaries are the de facto ones to go to if you're wanting to just look up vocabulary and also kind of get a general idea of what you're diving into, and also the rich history of the deaf community as a whole. And if you're brand new to the language, you might not know what Gallaudet is. Gallaudet University is the first deaf institution, or the deaf university in the state, stationed in Washington, D.C., and it's still to this day the central hub of the deaf community. And so if you want an authority of where to learn sign language, that's going to be the authority to use. And that kind of leads me to some YouTube channels. And so YouTube channels is a great way to really, not necessarily inundate, but to really immerse ourselves to the greatest amount as we possibly can. And speaking of Gallaudet, they have a free series of basic vocabulary lessons, and they're themed. So if you go to ASL Connect on, if you just type it in the browser or on YouTube, they have a channel where they'll go through simple terms. They'll go through, really basic stuff like the alphabet and numbers and animals, but also other subject matter like sports, baseball and holidays and stuff like that. So that's a really great resource to utilize. Other de facto YouTube channels, Bill Vickers, he's been teaching ASL for years. And he also has a website called lifeprint.com. And so that is going to be a really powerful way to not only build up your vocabulary, but also kind of to give you a systematic routine. And so on lifeprint.com, you can actually go there and there's lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. And it's a really easy way to kind of walk your way through the process of learning sign language. And he's a deaf instructor, and he has a channel, and he'll oftentimes have students on his channel, and he'll be teaching them the language. And so you're seeing it modeled, you're seeing somebody learn it, and you're just kind of seeing that entire process, and you don't have much choice but to kind of immerse yourself into the language that you're learning. So it's a really effective way to learn. Let me just go ahead and peruse through the comments. Oh, Monica, she said that I ordered the ASL word search via your website. It was hard. It took me about an hour to complete my first puzzle. So that's actually a really cool one. Her dad actually picked one of those up, and he told us about them. And so they're, these word searches, and instead of having the letters, it's the ASL hand shapes. And so it's a really good way to kind of wrap your head around it, or just get used to the associating the hand shapes with actual words, and kind of doing that processing. And
sorry,
it does
I'm saying hi to people who are saying hello.
Oh.
Like, your interpreting doesn't match what I'm saying. It's because I'm saying hello, because I see a lot of like hellos.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of comments about other YouTube channels, and let me just go ahead and call out a few of those. And if you have someone that you've really enjoyed learning from, whether it's a YouTube channel or a website or a movie or anything like that, please let us know, and we'll go ahead and we'll throw it up on the screen too. But I wanted to call out Felicia Woods. She says, I watched videos of ASL Meredith. She's an awesome resource. She's been teaching sign language for, I think, 10 or 11 years now, has a couple degrees in it. So she's a really great resource to take advantage of. Sign Duo is a really fun one. Scarlett Huff, I watched Sign Duo. So this is a deaf and hearing couple. So
hold on, stop talking. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I heard her like a little bit. I'm like, pause. Okay.
You okay, baby?
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Those mom ears. Like something's not right. Like I can hear it. I can hear it.
No water.
No, there's
You
no
don't want
water in
water?
there.
Oh, okay.
It's empty.
Get me water.
You want to get her water and all that?
Sure.
Do
you want to talk about Deaf Duo real quick?
Yes. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Deaf Duo. I love watching them. They're so cute. Oh my god. They're so. Yeah. They're really. It's a. How do I say it? Because now like he left and now I'm all. Blah, blah. They're really nice to watch because he's signing. She voices for him and she also simcoms, which means signing at the same time. So you can kind of like pick up vocabulary from them. They're really easy to watch. It's not. I know sometimes you might watch somebody and it might be hard where you're like, trying to pick it up, but they're really easy to watch, and they're very clear. I love that they're very clear. So that's one of the things we really. Somebody just says they both are not deaf. Who? He's deaf. She's not in Sign Duo. If that's what you're referring to. Sorry. I think it was Donnie. He has this thing set up so I can't read. Yeah, just the boyfriend's deaf. That's it. She's not. She's hearing. So it's super. They're super amazing to watch and very easy and comfortable. That's how I kind of describe it. It's really comfortable to watch. Thank you. I couldn't read it. I was like, I can't see. But yeah.
Yeah, we have a camera just set up right in the middle, so it's hard to see the screen. So we're constantly kind of looking around it to see the comments and stuff. What are you reading over there?
Oh, somebody's here from Jamaica. Awesome. That's exciting. Right there. No, not there. Over there.
Oh, I have to come in here. Yeah, so this place that we're streaming it through, StreamYard, it's kind of a third-party streaming service, and so there's a little bit of a delay from like what you see, then when your comment goes through, and then we have it on another window where we can see all the comments that we can actually throw up on the screen for everybody to see. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a really cool aspect of Meredith, where she'll sign, or she'll show you a sign, and then she'll show you different angles to kind of give you all the different perspectives of that sign. The Daily Smile. This is one I haven't seen before. She doesn't do them anymore, but she used to make videos of her signing songs. Very cool. I'll have to go check that YouTube channel out.
I saw.
What was the last one you mentioned?
Ambidextrous, switching dominant hand. Jason is bottom. He asks. So, if you're at what was that a question?
Yeah. So this is actually a question I get a lot. Is what if I'm ambidextrous or what if I'm left-handed? Does the dominant hand matter? What are the rules for that? So basically, if you're right-handed, your right hand is going to be doing the majority of the work. If it's just the alphabet, it's going to be your right hand. If it's a sign that has movement, then your right hand is going to be leading in that action. If you're left-handed, it's the opposite direction, right? One of the challenges that people that are ambidextrous is kind of picking one and choosing one. Usually it doesn't matter too much, but like if you're having to lay out things, you need to make sure that they're where they belong. Like religious signs, it's really important to make sure that you put all the good stuff on one side and all the bad stuff on the other. And if you're ping-ponging between the different sides, then that can make the person that's listening to you really confused. And so if you are ambidextrous, if you're going to lead left-hand dominant, then you should stay left-hand dominant for as long as you can. And if you're right-hand dominant, then sign predominantly with your right hand.
As you can tell, I'm not left-hand dominant, so trying to show you that example of left-hand, I'm like, wait, it'd be this way. Okay. But yeah, I confused myself.
I'm seeing more people posting resources here on the side. The Daily Smile used to be a PSE ASL song covers, but she got hate from the deaf community because she was just using their language with no interest in interacting with the community. Yeah, that's definitely something to be cautious of, is that, we want to be very respectful. You got to put that on Do Not Disturb or something. Want to be really respectful and not to, take advantage of that community, for any kind of personal gain. And so that's why we want to never take away from the deaf community, and we want to give as much as we possibly can. And it's one of the reasons why we wanted to share some of our favorite resources, particularly those from the deaf community, and deaf instructors like Bill Vickers and ASL That and Sign Duo. And then we also have like all those signing dictionaries, and making sure that we're learning from those that are deaf. And if you're watching things that are ASL or PSE or whatnot, it's good to make sure that you are learning from appropriate sources. That can be a really tricky thing when there's not really any good way to kind of verify who's doing what. So definitely make sure that you take advantage of as many resources from the deaf as possible. Like on Instagram, in the description on this video, I have a list of Instagram accounts, and most of them are all from the deaf. Signing with Heart, Ashley Clark. She's a great one. ASL Connect, ASL Sign Bank, ASL Storytelling, Deaf Duo, and there's a Teach Me ASL New York City.
There was another one, and I can't remember. It was a deaf family. Maybe you guys know, but it was on YouTube. I think the kids were deaf, and they kind of like went through like their everyday thing.
Was it ASL or Stu?
Oh, I can't remember. But maybe
let me see here.
Like, if you guys know like what I'm talking about, like, oh yeah, like it was like this little family. It was like the daughters think they were deaf.
I think it's is it ASL Nook?
Nook. ASL Nook. That was one. That was I watched that one. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I liked it and stuff. They had a lot of like basic vocabulary. My hands. Basic vocabulary and stuff in it. So that one was really good. We enjoyed that one too.
Thanks. Now I can go watch Sign Duo.
Trying to think if there was another one. There's a lot of like good resources out there too. Oh. I always like to bring her up because I just love her. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on. What are you?
I know who you're going to be talking about. Brittany Castle. She's an amazing deaf artist, and she's going to show you some of her stuff.
It's okay. So you can interpret them. Okay, so
if I have feelings,
they be hurt. So her name is Brittany Castle, and she's a deaf artist. And I recently learned this too. Her business is called 58 Creativity, but it's not the number 58. It's not supposed to be like the number 58, but discover, like find creativity or discover creativity, but it looks like 58. So cool, so clever. Oh my God. But anyways, I love her because she has her own business. And she works really hard. She has cards and stickers and calendars and like all kinds of stuff. And what she does is she shows you how to, like, for example, this is for January of next year. Very fitting. How clever is that, right? Isn't that like the coolest thing ever? It's help one another. is the word she has underneath it, right? There, help one another. So you have, all these people helping one another. You can tell I'm like all backwards and retarded in the camera. And then like you have where she has like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and she like shows you how to do it. And it's just so neat. I love supporting deaf artists like that, deaf businesses, because it's good, you know, because it can be hard, you know. So when we found her, it was Jolie who told us about her. And so I searched and I was like, oh, and I love all her stuff. So yeah, 58creativity.com is her website. If you're like curious and want to go like check some stuff out. So cool. I love her stuff.
You go ahead and
drop it in the
58creativity.com.
Yeah, so cool. She always has new stuff that comes out every month. Super exciting. But she's another one where she tries to like share, you know, deaf culture, deaf, you know, community, their perspective. Like I love the way she takes sign language and how she puts it in a way that's so clear. And she teaches you sign along the way. It's just, she's super nice. She's super awesome. I love her stuff. I wanted to throw that in there. We were talking about like all the different stuff, and she's one that popped up into my mind.
Yeah, and when you said like deaf businesses, another YouTube channel that's really good is The Daily Moth. And I have a link for that channel down below too, but basically they're a news channel, and a lot of times they'll actually do interviews with deaf businesses. And so that can kind of help us be more cognizant and more aware of the deaf businesses that are out there, so we can actually go out and support them as well, because it's really tough. And this is where a lot of like the suppression can come into play, where it's really difficult for somebody that is deaf to get a job, and not because they're not skilled or not because they're lacking in any way, but sometimes there's this like a bias, or just like, oh, well, you know, if you're an employer and you have somebody that interviews you and you're like, oh, well, I don't know. So like it can be really difficult for them to just get employment, whereas for others that are hearing isn't as difficult. So anytime that we can go out of our way and really support those deaf businesses and support those deaf instructors and support any of those that are deaf, definitely do as much as we can to be a part of that. We definitely want to have a positive impact on the community.
Can I get the link?
Do ASL signs? This is a good one. Oh, the Bravo family. Do ASL signs get old?
Yes.
Would the Bravo family video be too old to study?
Okay. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when we first started learning sign language, our instructor used the Bravo family for us. And at the time, it was like, oh. You look at it now and you're like, oh, because a lot of the signs are older, you know, and I think it was made in like, what, the 80s?
I think, yeah, 1980s.
Somewhere around there. So, and you can tell by the video, the clothes and everything and what they're wearing. But I loved watching them. I loved watching them. It was a lot of fun. It really like helped us learn, you know, because it's this family and they're doing their everyday life and they're explaining it. You know, they'll tell you like the key vocab words that you're going to have to like look for. So it was really good. But yes, signs do change over time. It's a lot like the English language. The English language has evolved over time too. My favorite example, he might know what I'm going to talk about. My niece, she's 13. She'll be 13 soon. One day, she was like, oh, yeah. And he like totally threw shade on her. And I'm all, shade? Shade? It's not what I thought she said at first. And I'm all, shade? And I'm like under the tree? And she's like, well, you know, like totally threw shade. And I'm like, honey, I don't know what that means. My brother-in-law is laughing. He thinks it's hilarious because he knows what it is because it's his daughter. But he knew that I didn't know. And so I'm like, what does that mean? What it means is, the way my brother-in-law explained it, was it's like raining on someone's parade. like, well, why didn't you just say that? You know, like totally like rained on her parade. That's like messed up. But no, it's throwing shade. And I'm like, man, so words, phrases, things evolve over time in English, and the same thing happens in sign language. So the signs will evolve and change over time. Throwing shade. I had no idea. I can only imagine what my daughter's going to say when she's 13. Oh, Lord.
Oh, this is another thing. This is something I'm not as familiar with.
I was telling the story.
Sorry. You want to finish your story first? Okay.
I made my point, I guess.
Jolie is saying some good ASL resources on TikTok. There's a lot of them. So there is at Cargo Shorts Dad, Deaf That, Chrissy Can't Hear You, and Drunk Crier, who is a CODA, is a good resource. Oh, and another CODA too, and she's on TikTok and Instagram and all the social platforms and YouTube. Dr. Luann Sailors. Her first language actually was ASL. She has both her dad and her mom were deaf. And if you're unaware, CODA is an acronym for Child of Deaf Adult. Sometimes they're referred to as kid. CODAs, like with a K, or sometimes it's with a C. So like child of deaf adults or a kid of deaf adults. And then there's also SODAs, like sibling of deaf adults. But they can be really great resources too, because that has been their primary language. I got some laughs in there. Haha, giggle, giggle.
Because yeah. So I'm going to give you an example of how sign language is evolving over time as well. Some of you might know this, some of you might not, but the sign for family, F, family, okay? Well, that sign is changing. It's adapted to family. It hasn't quite taken hold, like it hasn't spread everywhere yet, but you're going to start seeing this more and more and more. Another one that's out there too is language. Language has been with an L, language. Well, that's changed to language. Doing okay there? But it's evolved to language. And so signs have recently been changing, and so we kind of have to keep up and adapt with those. Now, to be fair, I mean, I still know people who sign who, what. Those are old signs. So, I mean, the family is still going to stay around. Language is still going to stay around. But just be aware that signs do change and adapt over time. And in 5 years, somebody who is learning sign language might not ever learn family. They might only know family. So if somebody sees somebody doing it this way or somebody sees somebody doing it this way, try not to be overly critical about everybody, because that's happened. I've seen it happen sometimes. People are like, oh, that's not how you sign it. There's variations. It's old signs. Just try to be like open-minded and flexible with that, because signs are going to evolve and change, and some don't evolve and change with them. You've been doing sign language for like 20 years. Family will be family forever. That's just how it is. It will always be raining on somebody's parade. It will never be throwing shade for me. I refuse to accept it. So things like that do happen over time. The language does evolve. So it's just kind of something to keep in mind. Oh, I lost my thought. That's what happens to me when I start reading at the same time. But anyways, do you have to learn ASL to be considered a CODA? Well, a CODA is a child of a deaf adult. So if their parents are if their parents are deaf, then that's what they're called. Typically, if the parents are deaf, the kids will know how to sign. Sometimes that's not the case too. There's all kinds of different spectrums out there, but that name, that brand, is the child of the deaf parents. It doesn't have to necessarily be both parents. It could just be one, the child of a deaf adult. So that's kind of what that means. Can you sign falling? Falling? Failing. My eyes. Failing. Which one? Failing. Right there. Can you sign failing again? To fail? To fail. So it's...
I think it probably family. Because we were talking about family for a while.
Oh.
I mean, there's fail, like you're falling off
Fail.
a cliff.
But family.
Family with the F shape where it kind of circles around. And then a newer version of that is, it's kind of difficult to do, but you're just basically wrapping your fingers around.
It reminds me of like a blooming flower. That's what it reminds me of.
Culture is starting to adapt to that same hand shape too.
Culture too. I forgot about that one. See? Forever.
So that can be hard to change, and like we will try to always kind of like have that most up-to-date sign, so we can match those. But sometimes it's good to know both, or even many different variations, so you are able to understand more deaf individuals, because some, like in the older deaf community, will tend to sign older signs. So it's good to know both like older signs and also new ones.
I like this question. Wait, hold on. I like that one too. I'll get to that one too. Here it is. No, what's going on? Every time I try to hit one, here it is. Here it is. How do you make a word into past tense? So I like that question because a lot of times, we can kind of get confused. But right there, what he just did, past tense. So like, see, I'm not good with the examples. Improv.
I don't know, like I went shopping earlier today, like
no. Okay. No, wait. Hold on. Now I gotta think of a sentence. I'm not good with improv like that. Well, like was, or we used to be was, but it was because it was yesterday or before. So much on context. But what was it? There's something like happened, like it happened yesterday, like I've seen or happened in the past. It's just this hand motion right here is what will refer to something going into past tense. If you can give me an example of what,
like the word think versus thought.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, somebody give me an example because I'm not good with that. Think versus thought. Okay, then that's different. Don't do this. To think is happening now, so it's moving. Thinking versus thought. It's solid thought. Oh, I thought so. It's a versus thinking.
Or you can also, well, I was just thinking like think finish.
Oh yeah. Thought.
Like before, I was thinking.
You could do this.
But yeah, like.
Thought. Yeah. So you'll see a lot of times they'll do the finish or past at the tail end of whatever sign it is that you're doing. It kind of just depends on that context.
I like this one too. Oops, I missed.
See, it's hard.
Eat versus ate. Like I'm eating compared to like I ate. Earlier I ate.
Finish. I would do ate finish.
Ate finish.
Eat finish. I would do eat finish.
Let's see here. Recently.
Julie. Guess who just realized they've been signing thought wrong? Okay, I'm not saying that this is the only way to do it. I'm not saying that. Don't ever mistake me for that or him for that. That's just how we've done it. I've seen a lot of people do it. There might be another way to do it. That's one of the things with sign language. It's very, but thought. Like, that's what it's like, oh, I thought so. I have actually signed that. Like, oh, I thought so. Like, thought SO.
Yeah.
But there's, yeah,
man, it depends so much. Because there's, ASL and PSE and C sign, and there's different ways depending on like which signing mode that you're using. And also the context of the conversation itself. So a lot of times when you'll like ask somebody, hey, how do you sign, maybe it's like a word, right? And like, oh, hey, how do you sign run? And well, you're going to be like, oh, what's the context, right? Because like the sign that you would use for like the word run will depend on like what you're talking about. For example, are you talking about physically running? Are you talking about like operation, like, oh, the printer's running, or it's functional? Or are you running for politics or for office? Is your nose running? Is the water running down the side of the house? And so like all these different contexts and all these different situations would change the way you would literally the way you would literally sign that.
Recently, as in time, yeah, recently. Yeah, context is a huge one. Could you guys please do a short lesson on live? A short lesson on live. I'll tell you why we haven't done it yet and why we typically do those privately. How do I say this? It can be hard to teach live because sometimes people don't like it because we're not deaf. There's a lot of people who don't like that. That's typically why we don't ever really teach the language live. We do like private one-on-one sessions or like in a group, in a closed group. But sometimes it can be offensive. So we've kind of held back from doing live because we never want to like offend somebody who might think differently. And that's not to say like shame on them for thinking that. No, everybody is entitled to their own opinions and their own belief in how they want to learn. But we just try to respect everybody with that and to not, we never want to like put ourselves out there to offend somebody. So typically when we do teach the language, we do it either in a one-on-one session or during our Zoom practice. He also does a workshop once a month. Oh, rats! That's coming up. I just forgot. He does a workshop once a month that is live, but it's in a Zoom, so everybody can see each other and like it's an opportunity for that too. But that's kind of why we don't do that live. It is something that we have thought about, but yeah, I know. We've had a lot of people ask us about it too.
Oh, there's a sleeping cat back there.
Meeting a deaf woman for the first time tomorrow, cramming for it. So excited. Yeah, and you know what? My advice to you with that is to just relax, be yourself, and it'll be okay. A lot of times we get nervous, and so everything we've learned is it's gone. You know what you know. It's right here. You know what you know. You'll be fine. Just take a breath, relax, and just allow it to just. It's like a wave to me. You just let it rush over you, and allow yourself to process the information. And however it's gonna go, communication-wise, it'll be great. So yeah, you'll be good. I'm excited for you.
Do you do Zoom on other days? So for the
I was telling them about the workshop that you have once a month,
mm-hmm.
and that's normally on a Saturday. We do that workshop on a Saturday, which I know
we need to set up.
We need to set up for this month.
For December.
And it typically has a theme. A lot of times, a lot like this, it ends up becoming an open Q&A. So it's an opportunity to be like, I have a question and I need someone to help me. We're here for you. Got your back. What do you need? And yeah, so it'll end up being like an open question answer, like a mini lesson. Like, I need help figuring out how to sign this or in this situation, or what do I do deaf culture wise? I think, would this be offensive? And we can kind of give you some support and a little bit of background on stuff like that and kind of help you out that way.
Oh yeah, so Sign Duo, if you do end up watching their channel, they do have closed captions for the hearing. I just remembered something. Go ahead.
Well, sorry, I interrupted you. Yes, they do have closed captions, but thinking about other resources, Switched at Birth, one of my favorites, because they have closed captions, but they talk a lot about like deaf culture, how the deaf and hearing integrated into like maybe the same school, or you have a deaf school. There's a lot of stuff that happens in there, and it's like, ooh, it's really good. So if you want to watch something fun and like to help with your receptive skills, because man, they fly with their signing. Whew, that's the closed captions are for. Watch Switched at Birth. It's really amazing. I love that TV show. How do you sign better than versus better? Okay, give me a minute. I gotta think about that. Because there's better. Well, there's better, best.
Yeah, good, better, best.
It goes up. So better, best. It's like, But you're doing
better than
versus
would be very context sensitive. So
better than.
like, am I better than you? Then like I'm putting myself up on a higher platform than you. Or like if you're making a comparison, like, oh, like, I don't know, like sometimes you would like call out like, oh, you're more lousy at that than I am. Like this is something that happens in ASL all the time, is where they'll set up kind of these two contradicting things, and then they'll make that like compare and contrast. It's not like, I don't know. What's a good example? Is it like, oh, is it sunny outside? Is it sunny outside? No, it's raining. Like you'll almost set up that negative, like to confirm what it isn't before you confirm what it is. Like, hey, outside. Like that head shake no. A lot of times, like you'll see that a lot.
I was prepared to have to voice interpret for you. I watched you do it. I was like, yeah, that. Oh,
I already said.
Okay.
When I was tiny, but.
Oh, let's see. I'm like, it's just going shoom all of a sudden. Oh, wait, hold on. Move your hand.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, cool, close. 46.
Nice.
All right.
Did somebody call it up?
If someone is telling a story, do they freestyle sometimes, or is it all just classifiers? Freestyle. I'm a little confused by what you mean by that. Oops. There we go. Freestyle. So, well, okay, I think I have an idea what you mean. When you're telling a story, you'll use classifiers because they're descriptive and they help kind of paint this like 3D picture of what it is that you're trying to say. I mean, sign language is 3D by itself, but classifiers really amplify that. So there's going to be a lot of just, there's signs, like regular ASL signs, but there will be classifiers in there. An example, no, I'm not going to do an example because, like I said, I'm not good at improv and I'm not even going to start that. I have to prepare for something like that. But yeah, so you'll see classifiers in there too. I can't see it. Don't you just use your hands for sign language? Okay. Johnni, what do you mean by that? You said, don't you just use your hands for sign language? What does that mean? Like, do you know? Are you referring to like classifiers, like what that means?
Yeah, so just like really quickly, so like,
could you guys make like practice tests for each lesson? Like, could you do a lesson on introductions and post another video saying the sign that you can practice? We kind
of do that in the courses we had set up. We've done 3 courses over the summer, and we made them available through like Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. But basically, that's what we did is we would have a whole bunch of like resources from deaf sources. Like we would tackle one subject, right? Like so introductions, and then we would use like resources from Sign with Heart and Bill Vickers and ASL that, and a few others, and then we would all put that into practice that same day. And then we would incorporate like challenges, and like let's say if we were focusing on introductions, and then it was your task for that day to introduce yourself to somebody else.
I'm reading.
Non-manual signs are the expressions you make. Mm-hmm.
Someone mentioned eyebrows. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Here's a fun brief lesson if I can make it brief. Yes. So eyebrows are very important. They tie in with your facial expressions. The language is here, but the understanding, the meaning of the message is right here. And I say that because, for example, I'm not good at doing this, so I'm not even gonna try. I'm not a monotone speaker. If I'm upset, you will know. If I'm happy, you're gonna know. If I'm frustrated, you're gonna know. If I'm annoyed, you're gonna know. That's just, but how will you know? Because of my voice. My voice will change, my pitch. You're gonna know when somebody's frustrated, mad, angry, because we have this ability right here. For the deaf, their ability to convey the meaning of their message, what they're saying, whether it's sarcastic, whether they're angry, whether they're happy, is right here. This is their tone. This is the tone of their voice, of their signs, of their hands, right here. So when you sign, using your eyebrows, whether it's like, what? Or no, you're going to utilize your eyebrows for like yes or no questions, the WH questions, but you're also going to use your face to just, it's going to explain what you mean. And it's going to be very clear. Now, as I'm sure most of you know, I'm a very outgoing person. I'm a very loud, out there person. It's like, wow, meet me in person, you'll see. So sign language for me came natural when it came to my face, because I use my face in general. That's just how I was. For some people, it was a little harder. Wasn't natural for him to use his facial expressions. That was a learned skill. He had to learn how to do that, to step out of his comfort zone, because to do some of the faces that you have to make, he was like, nah, I'm good. No, thanks, I'm okay. No. So it took time. But the sooner you can learn that and get comfortable with it, the more clear you become and what you're trying to say. Even if you're struggling with it here, if you've got it here, it's really going to help.
I'm hungry.
I know that was probably like a lot of information for that one question, but I always like to kind of add that in, because I see it a lot where people, oh my God, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I have no idea what you mean. So we always try to like encourage the facial expressions. Are you keeping up on this? Because I'm
yeah, it's it's kind of hard when they're like,
I know.
We really do our best to try to get to all the comments as we can during this.
But because we are coming up on that time, we do need to pick somebody for the one-on-one session. So that is going to be at random. Give me 2 seconds while I generate that.
You're hungry?
I know, honey. We're going to go pick up dinner as soon as we're done. She's like, I'm going to keep you standing here and saying it until you acknowledge me. Okay. So, hold on.
Shopping to get some food.
Why is this hard to generate?
I need to go shopping to get some food.
Oh.
I want daddy.
Okay.
I got to cling on here.
Okay, so. Let's see here. Right here?
Be patient. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that how it goes? And.
So you just click on the one you want to display, or you can type their username in.
Okay. So sorry, guys. I got it to work. Now I just have to type in the name. Okay.
I am a maker. I am a maker.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go shopping.
And so sorry, guys. And here we go. So our winner for tonight. There it is. Wait.
Did you?
I put it in the chat.
Okay.
Hold
So
on.
go to
I'm
the
supposed
bottom
to
and
like
then click
display it. I'm so anticlimactic. Sorry, guys. There it is. Debbie. If you're still here, let us know
Go.
maybe like 3 minutes to let us know.
Go.
My God, she's like, she didn't take a nap today, so she's like just wired. So I'll give you about 3 minutes to let us know in the chat if you're still here. If I don't hear or see anything by then we'll randomly select a new winner. So, oh, I know, right? And Madison's like, one more like, and then we have the second giveaway. So that's really exciting.
It just came in.
Hey, okay. Well.
Okay, so.
I'm out of breath.
Okay, so since we hit 50, we got 51. We're going to go ahead and give away one of our children's books, and it's signed. So this is actually, we'll only be able to ship to people that are in the United States. If you live in the United States, let us know with a comment, and we'll go ahead and pick somebody at random, and we'll go from there.
Yay, Debbie! Okay, so real quick, Debbie, I'm going to go ahead and put Chris's email address in the chat. Go ahead and send him an email with just, your email information and stuff, letting us know it's you, and then we can get that set up for you. There it is. See, it's like hard. You're like, wait. No, I'm backwards too. I don't want to play with it anymore.
The comments keep doing this, so you have to try to click the right one.
Okay.
Congrats and Thanks. We have
I live in the US.
Cindy lives in the U.S.
I live in the U.S.
Linda lives in the U.S. Oh, you guys rock. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll let that kind of
Loretta
go.
lives in the U.S.
We'll let that kind of generate because I know there's a delay. So.
Okay. One other thing that I want to mention, because check out the links in the description down below too, because we have links to everything that we've mentioned here today. YouTube channels, and I didn't even get to the online dictionaries. There are a ton of online dictionaries, which is a really great way to just quickly find what you want to learn. I'm just going to go through them real quick, and then you can check the description if you wanted to go through them one by one. LifePrint, ASL Pro, Signing Savvy, Handspeak, ASL Clear, ASL Core, Elemental ASL Concepts, a STEAM dictionary, science, technology, English, and mathematics. Statewide Outreach Center, which have a lot of great sign language books on their YouTube channel, and Nyle DiMarco. And Nyle DiMarco actually has a really incredible TED Talk where he goes into more about kind of how fortunate he was to be to have deaf parents, and he himself is deaf, and to be able to go to a deaf school. And if you want to learn a little bit more about deaf culture, check out Nyle DiMarco's TED Talk. It can be really helpful. And documentaries too. We included a link to Through Deaf Eyes.
Thank you.
And that's an incredible documentary if you'd like to go ahead and learn more about deaf culture. And it's kind of they go into kind of a dark times when in like the 60s and 70s, there's a lot of oppression. And if people are a little hesitant to connect with you when you're just starting to learn sign language, that kind of explains the reason why there's a little bit of apprehension of those to kind of put themselves out there to really put forth a lot of time, energy, and effort into helping you learn. And a lot of times most people don't stick with it, and so they can feel a little discouraged from that. And then there was like a lot of oppression. It's getting better over the years, but that's definitely a documentary worth watching. Again, it's Through Deaf Eyes. I think PBS published that one.
And in the very beginning, there is he is the most hilarious deaf comedian ever. CJ Jones.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He came here and we saw him live. The company we work for hosted it. Oh, it was so exciting. I loved it. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay.
Yeah. More Instagram fingerspelling tests. I do plan on making more of those. Mm-hmm. I have to go through and make them in Photoshop, and it's kind of time consuming, but when work slows down a little bit for us, we'll
probably during Christmas vacation, because the schools will be closed and he's an interpreter for the school, so it'll be better. Okay.
So going through, we have actually quite a few people watching from the US, and so let's go ahead and spin the wheel. We should be really cool, like we had one of those wheels that you actually spin and go.
Yeah, but there's 1,000 names on here. How would we wouldn't be able to put them on there?
New York in the house.
Nice. Okay, here we go.
Okay, and I'll just do the fingers thing. That one.
Okay, right here. And okay, I've got it. Here we go. And
like a drum roll.
Bam. Hold on.
Okay, so now you go to the bottom, click it, and there we go.
All right.
Azil Rodriguez, if you're still here, you are the proud owner of our children's book, A Day at the Beach. And we will go ahead and send this out tomorrow. Just send us the address you would like us to send it to. Again, my email address is right here. So send me an email with your address where you want the book shipped to, and we'll go ahead and get that sent out as soon as we have an address. If you would like to check out our book for yourself, it's actually available on Amazon as well, and it's available for free if you have Kindle Unlimited. And that's something that I personally have, and I made a list of some free Kindle Unlimited books that are really great for not only learning sign language, but learning in general. So be sure to go ahead and check those out in the description down below.
Oh, somebody, hold on.
Lots of congrats.
I have somebody who asked to please answer. I have a question. Okay. Could you make a partner practice video as you are starting a conversation?
Oh, sorry, it's up here. As you were starting a conversation, as me, I don't have somebody to practice with as many others, so that would be so helpful. Yeah, okay. And there are a couple, but there's not a lot to where it's conversation. The Bravo family is actually really great for that, to where it's, you know, they're a family and they're having these conversations. I'm trying to think of other resources where it's not just like one person showing you signs. And
well, that's where ASL Duo comes in, because they like talk
more
together.
Conversational. And you might really get a lot of benefit from joining our Zoom group practice sessions. We hold those every Wednesday, and they are free to join if you sign up for our newsletters, or if you're a member of the channel, or if you're a supporter of Patreon. We send out those Zoom links every week, and they're a great way to get some practice in. We'll pair you up with somebody that is at your skill level. So if you're a beginner, we can have you work with other.
They said like one-on-one. So yeah, that group practice session would be really ideal that we do every Wednesday night. A lot of people enjoy it. We've had a lot of really great success with people doing that. And we've been doing it since April, since the pandemic started. We started doing that because a lot of people lost the ability to practice with people because everything just went shut down. Yeah. So we initiated that back in April, and it's wonderful. We have about 50 people who join every week, and then we partner everybody out according to your skill level, and then you stay there and you practice for like 30, 35 minutes, and you just practice, try conversing. And it's a good way to connect and like network. I never can remember that word. Network with other people. Really, and a lot of people have networked that way, to have like a practice buddy. A lot of them practice outside of the Zoom practice session. So it's a really good, pretty good thing to do.
Just really quick, because this is another question we get all the time. When you're signing a song, are you supposed to sign it word for word or put it into the ASL sentence structure? So for songs, it's important to try to interpret the meaning and less so the words. A couple really good examples of songs that have been interpreted really well is, what was that? Grenade by Bruno Mars. If you type in ASL Bruno Mars Grenade, like that's an incredible version of that, and it's very conceptual. Another one that's actually pretty good too is that song by from Frozen, Let It Go. So that's another song where they don't do it like word for word. It's very conceptual. So if you're going to interpret a song, or you're trying to, yeah, it was when you're signing a song. This one.
I'll tell you. You want to talk about one that you don't sign structure? I was when I interpret, I'm a sub for schools. I'm a medical interpreter. That's what I do. But once in a while, I'll have to go sub at a school. Well, all the interpreters prefer it when I go and do the rallies for them, because I'm like a hype man. Like when I interpret, I'm like, yeah. You're like, I have all kinds of fun doing it. Well, I was at a high school rally, and I had to interpret the Bohemian Rhapsody song. Luckily, I know that song by heart. But let me tell you, you haven't lived until you had to interpret that song on the fly in front of 800 high school students who all go because they're curious what the interpreter is going to do when you're standing in the middle of an arena. And I'm like, sweet. So I had the best time. Oh my God. But if you've ever listened to the words of that song, you can't interpret that word for word, because half the time you're like, what? I mean, luckily I knew the song, Lover of, yeah. I love that song. Yeah, like it's like one of those, like, everybody loves that song. But so, gone back. But yeah, so it's one of those songs that you can't just sit there and be like, oh, you want me to interpret that? Okay, here I go, word for word. It doesn't work that way. And with songs, to get the main point across, you can't interpret word for word, because songs have meaning. They have a story behind them. And a lot of times, if you're going to interpret a song, you're going to have to understand that story behind it to really convey the message that the artist is wanting conveyed to the listeners. So it's a lot of fun. Someone said, don't forget the head bobbing. I did. I rocked out hardcore with interpreting that song. I thought you were going to tell the other story about the Megan Trainor song.
The No song.
Oh, I had to interpret that one too. I didn't like that song because I was like, I had never heard it. And like, no. My boss was sitting there. My boss thought it was hilarious. She's like, ha, you got to and I'm like, what? I never heard the song before. So I was like, I literally went, which is something I rarely do. Like, wait. But yeah. Okay. All right, guys.
Okay. It's an hour on the mark. We're gonna end it on time tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Any last words?
Nope. Like he said, if you're curious and want to join the Zoom practice session, sign up for his newsletter or any of the other ways that he has out there. And yeah, he'll send the email out the night before, and that's Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and whatever it is for whatever time zone you live. I'm not good at doing that, so all I know is it's 5 o'clock Pacific and it's 8 o'clock on the East. What happens in between? I don't know. It's sad. It's sad.
Oh, wow.
But
thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. So, okay, you guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed tonight. We did. What's the matter?
Real quick, how do you sign up for the newsletters? We have a link in the description down below, and
it's
kind of hard. I don't know if I can post a link in the live chat.
Oh, okay.
But if you go into the description, we left a link to how to sign up for the newsletters, or you can go to our website, aslbasics.com, and you can sign up for the newsletters there. Anything else? Who won? Debbie won the free one-on-one session, and chat's moving on me. And let's see here. Who won?
I can't remember how to pronounce the name. Tell you if I saw it. Somebody else is going to know it too. Somebody else is going to drop it before I can because I can't remember the name.
I can't.
I apologize.
Oh, man. Was it this one?
Yes.
It was Azelle.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody said.
Debbie already sent the email. Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, go
somebody
check that out.
Needed they wanted their question answered really quick before we left.
What was your question about the Zoom? Oh, what if you're younger? What if you're younger and you're not comfortable showing your face to a stranger? So if you are a minor, we do encourage that your parents attend with you. We do want to make sure that the Zoom practice sessions are as safe and secure as possible. That's why we stopped publishing the Zoom link publicly. So now you can, they're still free to join, but we just wanted to add like one layer of securities to make sure that that's a safe place to go. But if you are a minor, there are people that are joining that we don't know personally. So definitely talk to your parents about it and see if they were willing to join with you. But you're more than welcome to come. Okay,
yeah,
I think that's all.
That is something that we do. I'm gonna, as a parent, I understand why I would be hesitant about my kid doing something like that. But that's kind of why we always try to make sure it's safe. We do have security features in there as well. Nobody can send private chats to each other. We will see them just to make sure everybody is safe because things happen, and we want to make sure that everybody. We don't need that. Nobody needs that kind of drama in their life. We all got enough drama to deal with. We don't need that drama, So we just want to make sure that you guys are safe. We do have ones who come in who are minors. Their parents are with them, or they're around. Their parents are aware of what they're doing. They're not necessarily sitting there with them, but they're aware. So if something happens, parents can jump in or notify us, and we can handle it accordingly. So yeah, that is something that's out there for you guys too. But yeah, definitely talk to your parents about that and make sure that they are okay with it, and if they're willing to be around and in the proximity while you do it, if that's what makes them feel more comfortable about you doing it. But what?
Just a lot of thanks.
I'm like, why are you laughing?
Peace.
I'm like,
you rock. Night. Bye.
Laugh at me.
Freaking love you guys.
Aw. Okay, you guys. Well, that's it for tonight. We'll see you guys next week, Wednesday. We hope you enjoy your evening. Stay safe out there. You know, world's crazy. COVID sucks. So, all right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.